Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to our Italian adventure here on Pure Farming 18. We've had very little rest between getting the last harvest done and getting on with the next one. But as you see, it's about 6:15 in the morning. I want to quickly just check the greenhouse before we do anything else. We are at 96% growth, so this is almost ready to pop another load of product. What I am going to do though is I'm also going to go and quickly get some more fertilizer. Get this thing sort of restocked and replenished because it'll probably run out while we're in the middle of a harvest. So let's head over the hill, grab some bags of fertilizer in the back of our truck. There we go, 9 bags. Just about made the turn there. And then turned into a lamppost. My driving just doesn't get any better at all, does it? Right, so let's transfer the contents. We're up to 80%, so we still need, I would guess, another 4 bags. I'm going to grab 5 because I think we'll probably run out a little bit more. But no, we'll just stick with 4 just on the off chance that we've overdone it a bit too much. Some really tight corners up in these little mountain paths here. There we go, so that's 4 bags. And there we go, the greenhouse is now full. So I say we'll deal with the greenhouse first, and then once that's done, then we can deal with starting on our wine harvest. Obviously we did olives last time out. Our grapes should be ready this time, so we can get to our wine vineyard. There we go, we're at 100%. We've emptied the back of the truck, that's good. So let's switch to the Landini. And we're going to need this for 2 reasons. One, to empty out the contents of the greenhouse, sell off that eggplant. And also we're going to need to top up the water level of the greenhouse as well. So we're going to need it to connect to the big water trailer that we have. We're sitting on 37,000 at the moment, which isn't too bad. Nice little bit of cash. So we'll also look at maybe purchasing a couple more pieces of a couple more things for us to do today as well. Let's see, first of all though, I want to drop this off on the other side, so I need to turn here. Couldn't quite make it. I want to get the water level filled first before I top this thing up. Oh, there's a little bush there. Sometimes I think some of these little placed bits of scenery are a little awkwardly placed. It's like, I don't think that tree really does anything for, in terms of improving the visual scenery or anything like that for being there, but it does create that obstacle when you try and pull your trailer up alongside the unload point. It'd be nice if we could actually remove that tree. I do feel it's in that little spot, that one tiny little bush, I do feel it's kind of completely pointless being there. It does nothing but hinder you. Yeah, we're going to need more water. I should have topped this thing up first. So let's transfer. There we go. I do like how fast some of the transfer system stuff is. So when we're topping up sprayers or water tanks or anything like that. It's not like a slow, drawn-out process. It's nice and fast, which is pretty good. Oh, no, I don't want to work. Sometimes the controls feel a little bit slow to respond as well. Like just there, I tried to start working by mistake and nothing happened, and I instinctively pressed X again to get it to stop working, and then that started it working, and then I had to press to stop working twice as well. There's no sort of instant sort of oomph with some of the controls. They do feel a little perhaps sluggish to respond at times. But generally, I've been very happy with the control system in the time that I've been playing, not just here in Italy, but also the 3.5 hours or so when I did my live stream. And this is the second time that I've tried to do all this stuff here in Italy as well. I did actually record about 4 or 5 episodes last week and had some technical issues that were stopping it from actually working. You may have noticed there was a little bit of skipping going on in the videos for parts 1 and maybe part 2 as well. That was unfortunately just an issue that my console was having, where it was skipping sections of the recording, and I've tried to resolve that issue, and hopefully this will be nice and smooth, no skips. Where do I need to go with this? There's a sell point just around the corner, isn't there? So we'll go up to there. It's got to go wide here because this is a very tight turn. There we go. And here is the sell points, I think. Or is this a storage point? No, this is the market, so this is the sell point here. So there we go, and that's an extra 4.5 grand, so that's nice. We're up to 41, nearly 42,000 now. So now that we've done the trailer, we can kind of get ourselves positioned, ready for our wine harvest. We've got our greenhouse up and running properly. It's been restocked with water and fertilizer. We sold off all the product. So let's make our way over to the grape vineyard, which is just there. You can see there those green trees. We'll go through the village and see if we can access it around the other side, trying to avoid running these people over. Oh, no, we killed someone. He walked into us, and that was enough for him to die. So I think we've probably gone very, very much the wrong way. Oh no, here we go. Look, this is the opposite side, so this is good. So we can park up just here. There's our harvester already kind of in position. So we'll leave there. Let's jump into our little Gregoire harvester here, and let's start harvesting some grapes. Let's see if we can actually see a close-up of the trees themselves. Ah, there we go. Look, so there's the grapes at the bottom. Obviously, with the olives, we could see those, sort of almost looking like white on the trees themselves. These, obviously, the grapes are hanging in bunches at the bottom. So let's get in there and start harvesting this. So we want to work, which will raise the profile of the vehicle. And there we go. The engine is switched on properly. Off we go. Let's take a look out the back. You can kind of just see the grapes going into the tanks on the sides there. Almost like a blue colour. I'm not sure if it's meant to be that colour. instead of, say, a sort of a purpley kind of colour. Again, not a fantastic turning circle. I'm not sure if that's just because of the equipment or if it's the handling physics, but let's try and get a close-up of those grapes. Yeah, they do look blue, don't they? They look very blue. But I think now that we have this particular harvester, our harvesting in general is going to be a lot quicker and smoother, and definitely a lot easier than with that pull behind. Still got to be careful to make sure we get lined up perfectly on that first one. Once you get in there, so much easier. And you can see kind of the machinery kind of working as you see it agitates the trees to pull the fruit off. You can just about see the framework inside, just sort of jiggling about a little bit. So one thing I think the game kind of lacks a little bit is a real sense of clarity when it comes to field states. I haven't seen, I may be wrong, I may have missed it somewhere, but especially with these vineyards where I couldn't see anything about them in the help system, in the encyclopedia. One thing I do feel is perhaps a little maybe poorly explained to not even explained at all is whether or not we need to actually continue to keep the water levels as high as possible even when a field is sort of harvested or ready to be harvested like this. You see we have a water level at 65% and the sprinkling levels at 58%. Do we get a better yield if we get those both up to 100% again before we harvest? It's just not clear. There's no real sort of information in there at the moment that I've found anywhere that seems to suggest that we're harvesting these perhaps before they are fully ready to be harvested. I mean, obviously they are ready and we can harvest them, but there's no sort of information to say whether I'll get a better yield if I continue to keep adding fertilizer with the sprinkling system and keep them hydrated. Obviously the sprinkle level is going down because we're harvesting, and that again can sometimes be a little bit misleading. I do think that maybe needs to be addressed a little bit. Either there needs to be some information added into the game so that you can understand exactly what it is you're trying to do, or it needs to be kind of revamped a little bit to make it simpler and easier to just see straight away exactly what the situation is with your crops. Oh, and there we go, we're full. So let's unload into our trailer. Remembering to hold down R1 this time. And we've got one tree left here on the end. Or is it two? It's one on the mini-map, but I can see 2 or 3 trees. There's 3 trees actually there. Obviously this thing does not work in reverse. There we go. So those 3 trees are now stripped clear. We can start going back the other way. It is actually a fair bit of fun to drive around in this thing. This is certainly one of the easiest harvests, that you'll ever do. Just lining up over some trees and just driving, and like this, you don't even have to worry about not being able to hold a straight line and going off at an angle, because you're kind of guided by the trees. Saw there, you try and turn, you just stop. You know, that it kind of automatically kind of senses itself once you get onto the trees. So very, very easy to actually complete a harvest like this. Minimal effort and fuss involved. Whereas you saw how much more difficult it was to be so precise with the pull behind, where you had to get it lined up absolutely perfectly, or else you just bounced it, you know, off in a really awkward angle, which then usually meant you had to fold everything back up so you could reverse back out and reposition, and then unfold everything, get it all switched back up on again. Became very, very tedious very, very quickly trying to use the pull behind version of this particular self-propel version. Absolute joy to use. It really, really is so simple and straightforward, and it looks great as well. Something that we're you know, as farming sim players, we're just not really used to seeing equipment like this. And look how much faster and more controlled and how easy this harvest has been in comparison to what we went through on our olive grove over there. You know, so much more controlled, so much smoother and easier. And it's coming up to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's been a really, really straightforward kind of run. And I forget, we spent some of our time working away on getting the greenhouse up and running, with trips for fertilizer and water, and then selling off the product. We haven't actually been on this field all that long, and it's pretty much done. We've just got this one last line of trees to go. There we go, that's it, we're on the final run. So very, very simple, very, very straightforward when it comes to actually using, you know, this particular piece of equipment. Very, very efficient as well when it comes to time. And we do have another olive grove, I believe. That one will probably take a little bit longer to do than this vineyard here. But we'll get unloaded and then we'll go looking for it. So let's stop working. And I'm trying to remember, did we sell the olives from last time, or did we put them in storage? I honestly don't remember. I do love watching the hydraulics of this in action as this goes up and down, depending on whether it's harvesting or tipping and so on and so forth. Very, very pretty. The mud effect, I think, needs to be you know, examined quite closely as well. It has a more of a blotchy feel to it than Farming Sim does. You can see it's a little hard to see in some cases because of the light, but sometimes it almost looks a little bit like rust. Sometimes it looks like dirt, you know, but it does have a very sort of different effect, where it almost feels like it's been kind of smeared on a little bit and painted on with Farming Sim. This has got a different type of texture to it. It feels clumpier, and I suppose perhaps a little bit more like real mud, but at the same time it does also give this strange kind of look as though the tractor's rusting. You can see there what looks to be almost like peeling metal on the wheel arch above the black plastic rim. Very strange effect. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I say there are moments when it looks great and there are moments when it looks not so great, and I'm kind of undecided about the mud texture at the moment. It's like that rear bar at the back of the trailer. It looks more like it's just old and rusted than it does look muddy. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. Alright, so this should be where we can sell our grapes. Now, do we tip in here, or do we have to do it around the corner? Yeah, there's no interaction just here, look. So let's go back to the box around the corner that we do know exists. I thought maybe there'd be something that we could do with this auger here, but apparently not. Maybe I'm missing something. I didn't know. We did store the olives, didn't we? I remember we drove into a building to store them. Well, this is the... so I guess we do the same here then. No? I'm getting no pop-up here, look. How do I store these grapes? It's got to be something back around the corner. It's got to be something to do with that auger. So I'm getting right. Ah, there we go. Look, see, drop. Okay, so that's emptied. So does that mean that the box around the corner is our retrieval points? I'm gonna guess yes. We'll go and quickly test. Yes, there we go. So you can pull the grapes back out again from this box here. Okay, so that's that. It's sort of resolved. Let's make our way over to the next grove, which I think is the other side of those hills, the other side of the village, if memory serves me correct. You see, just bottoming out a little bit over that hill. We were trying to turn and just going straight on for a second there as we were lifted over and off the ground a little bit. We do kind of need to get these groves back up and running again, but we'll get the next one harvested before we do that. And this is a little oddity as well. I noticed this earlier. This signpost, we accidentally knocked it over, but it has this really strong collision that even though it's flat on the ground, we got anywhere just a little bit too close and we came to a complete standstill. So that's a little odd. The game is full of little quirks, some of which you get the feeling are meant to be, others which feel a little bit unintentional. And is it me, or is this true? This really looks a lot different. This one is still growing, look. This is what it should have looked like. So I really do think it was kind of a bug where the drone kind of just pushed this straight through to harvest last time. Now we can actually see it flowering like this. You can see the field itself is yellow, so this isn't actually ready to harvest yet. But it will be soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park up just here, drop off the trailer, we're going to go and get the water tank, because we've got 1% of water left in storage, as you saw there. We're going to leave that and top it up. I'm not going to scan this field with the drone, because I get the feeling if I do that, it's automatically going to push that field to ready, which is not something I want. So I'm going to go and get the water tanker. I'm going to top... I'm going to drive into a tree. I'm going to top up the water tank on that field, and then we'll get these two groves up and running again as well. So we're going to need to top up the water level on these as well, and get the sprinkler out, give them a sprinkle with some fertilizer. We'll kind of restart these two, and again we won't scan them with the drone because I want to see, you know, just how quickly they kind of come back. I do get the feeling that the drone just pushed them straight through to being ready to harvest. And you saw them when we first scanned them right on day one. They went straight to white, which they shouldn't have done. So let's transfer this, fill this up completely again. There we go. We've got nearly 42,000. I'm just wondering what else we could get today. I think possibly what we could also look at doing is getting some chickens, I think. That's something else that appeals to me. I'm going to start with these tanks first of all, because these are closest, and it'll restart these fields. Okay, so that tank is full. Let's head back, top up again. Do the same for the next grove, the grape that we've just done. Still haven't quite adjusted to the difference in economy yet. I mean, obviously I've played so much Farming Simulator that those kind of crop values and prices, they're all kind of just permanently ingrained into my head. And I kind of instinctively know roughly how much, if not exactly, but certainly roughly how much I'm going to need for certain types and pieces of equipment. This, it's a very, very different kind of economy. So not only are the prices completely different, but the the sheer volume of difference is quite a lot as well. Whereas we're talking insanely large. Oops, we're working, aren't we? See again, it took a while to stop working. While the tractors, especially the large tractors, can be horrendously expensive in Farming Simulator, you know how much you can earn from certain crops, so you know instinctively how much work you're going to need to do it, and you know how much money you're going to bring in roughly from your harvests. You can balance it in terms of figuring out how much of a loan to take out, because you know what your daily kind of income's going to be. With this, it's a brand new economy, brand new kind of cash values for not just your equipment, but also how much money you're going to bring in for your crops, how much money you're going to bring in from things like greenhouses and placeables. Working again. Stop working. There we go. So you have to kind of readjust and learn the values of those before you can start going in, I'm just going to max out my loan and bring out these, because you don't know how much money you're going to bring in from your harvests, on a regular basis. You've no idea how much money you need to have to be able to actually pay off your loan. One thing I do like though about the loan system is it is incremental and customizable. You can set your level of repayments, which is a really nice feature. If you want to increase the number of payments that you make and therefore reduce the value of each payment, then you can do. It means that in the long run you'll end up paying more, because you'll be making, the interest will carry on for longer, so you'll end up paying slightly more, but you can choose to pay off in installments that kind of suit you. And it's an automatic repayment system. It happens every day. Whereas in Farming Sim, you kind of take a loan out and that's it. There's no real consequences to taking out a loan. I mean, you can max it out. I mean, yeah, you'll get interest payments every night, but you don't have to pay it back ever. There's no. I keep pressing X. I need to press square. There we go. It doesn't matter how much you kind of decide whether or not you're going to pay. Like I say, you don't have to pay your loan back in Farming Sim. You can just keep incurring interest payments every day, and there's no reason for you to actually physically pay it off until you're in a position where you can just throw away however much money that you've kind of borrowed. You can just take that out of your your bank balance and say, okay, I don't want to pay this interest anymore. But that's it. That's the only penalty. And this, not only are you paying back interest on the loan, so you end up having to repay more than you took off, which is the way it should be. But on top of that, you're automatically getting payments taken out of your bank account every day. That's I think a better way to do a loan system. Okay, so this olive grove is going to set us back 21 grand if we buy it. I think we might buy this, Yeah, let's buy this. Okay, so let's transfer. They gave me the option to upgrade. Oh, it said upgrade level 1. I don't think we can upgrade our fields. Yeah, any options that we did have are gone now. But there we go. We now have... Getting out stopped the overflow process. There we go. Let's get that restarted again. So now that the groves have been purchased and our water levels are set, we need to get our sprinkle levels on. So let's head back, pick up our sprinkler. I'm just going to cut across the hill a little bit just here. Do we have a horn? I don't think we do we? No. That's a shame. Maybe we'll get a horn in the future with an update. Just beep at all the people that just like to throw themselves in front of my tractor and get themselves killed. Do I have any fertilizer left in this? A little bit. Not enough. We'll get started what we can. Looks like we've used up a little bit of water already, look. It's starting to get dark. It's nearly 7 o'clock. Let's go full lights. Really should have moved that out of the way, shouldn't I? Oh, I've just turned the wipers on again. It's just I'm just trying to go into cruise control and my brain is thinking L1 R1 circle, which is, you know, farming simulator cruise control. This is just accelerate to the speed you want, or maximum speed, and press square. I ended up turning on my wipers. Been doing that a lot, and it's unavoidable. You're going to keep doing that when you play a particular game as much as I do, and then you switch to something that's similar but with a completely different control system. You're always going to just instinctively, without even realizing it, just get your control systems mixed up. I suppose we should think about cleaning our equipment as well. It's getting pretty filthy. You know, our tractor, our sprayers, our harvester, our trailer, it's all getting very, very dirty. I do think we have a pressure washer nearby somewhere. Might be near our shed. I do remember seeing somewhere that had a washer system. So we might have to go looking for that, but we'll probably have to do that tomorrow. I don't think we're going to have time at the end of today. I don't want to work too late into the night again. I want to just try and get a couple of these groves kind of up and running if I can. We've got these two here, and obviously we've got the one around the corner that we got started. I probably should have waited on that one until the one next to it was ready, so that we could run those two in sequence and have these two in sequence. So let's quickly go and top this up. Nearest fertilizer tank from here, I think, is the one that's sort of over here. And you can see the sprinklers on that grove that we've just purchased in the corner, in the distance. I think this might be where our sprayer is, somewhere down here. I'll have a quick tour of the building So this is just a shed. That's the sell point. So no, it's not just here. But it is somewhere in this area, I think. As I say, I want to try and get these groves up and running as quick as possible, so we haven't really got time to explore right now, but we will definitely do that tomorrow, I think. We could have bought this grove. Look, oh wow, look at this vineyard here, 80,000. That's quite pricey. That's one for us to definitely work up for. The vineyards, you know, the wine vineyards are definitely a lot more expensive than the olive groves. Quite substantially so. So as soon as this field is done, we'll have one left to do, which will be the very first olive grove that we started with. We'll give that a sprinkle, and then that'll be it for the day. We'll have sort of turned over one of our crops, put it into storage, and prepped up another 3 rounds of crop. Plus, we also did our greenhouse at the very beginning as well. So, what we'll do tomorrow is we're going to go off and we're going to look at getting a few chickens, I think. I think we'll add some chickens. Oh, there's the sprinklers coming on again, look. We're also going to find where the pressure washer is so we can clean off our equipment, because as I say, it is starting to look pretty filthy. And then I think maybe we'll have another grove that'll be ready to harvest tomorrow as well. Nearly done here. We'll have one tree left on its own at the end, I think. One line of trees. Again, we're going to have to make sure that we top up our water levels again. You can see how quickly our water storage levels are going down. And there we go, that is this grove done. So if we head this way, this should take us around the side to give us access to those last groves, I think. Well, I may be going way off course here. That's the petrol station. I think I'm going drastically in the wrong direction here. Let's loop around this side here, try and follow it back. Yeah, that's grove number 4. There's the chickens, look, there's where we're going to be purchasing some chicken coops. So we're definitely in the wrong place. We're a long way from home. And there's no way through here. I'm going to have to go all the way back around again. So if we head this way, there's the village on the hill, look. Just, you can see it coming into focus. That's where we need to go. So yeah, we went in completely the wrong direction there. And all the while, they can see the time is ticking away. Day 4 is rapidly approaching. One thing you'll notice as well with cruise control, and I'm not sure if this is a deliberate thing or not, but you'll notice that when you're sort of accelerating, you'll hear the engine, and you hold the R2 down to accelerate, and you'll hear the engine start to rev, and get really quite high pitched in revs, like this. And then you press square for cruise control to take over, and those revs just suddenly fall away quite dramatically. Really changes the engine noise. So here we are revving at full revs at 9 miles an hour. And listen to how much the engine note changed there as soon as I hit cruise control. I wonder if that's designed as a deliberate feature, or if that's just an accidental feature. In a way, it's kind of clever because it mimics, you know, over revving an engine. I don't know if that has a deliberate effect on the vehicle maintenance or not. That's something else we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to look at maintaining our vehicles. And I've lost my point. What was I going? I know it's going on talking about, you know, it mimics the effect of over revving the engine, but it also reminds you that, you know, you can set cruise control. Or at least to me it does. I'll hear that engine noise revving, and it won't necessarily register that I'm still manually accelerating myself, and I'll hear that high-pitched engine rev, and I'll go, I can turn on cruise control. And then the engine note changes and drops away and becomes a lot less strained. So it's almost like it's an audible cue for me to turn on my cruise control. I don't know if that's a deliberate thing, or if that's just a natural response to hearing that, you know, high revving engine. I don't know if it was intended for that to be the case. I think it probably wasn't. I don't think it was intended. You hear this engine again. I've gone to do cruise control and I've turned on my wipers. Got to get out that habit. I don't think it was intended, you know, to give you this audible cue to turn on cruise control, but you never know. Oh, excuse me. So we are almost done with this grove, and as soon as this is done, I'm going to sort of take our farmer back home and dump him into the bed. So we're going to call it an episode here. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and I'll be back with the start of a new day, day 4 on our Italian adventure here with Pure Farming 18 on the PS4 very soon.